Picture a massive glass skyscraper in Dallas, Texas in the year 2000. Inside a cold boardroom at the very top, two nervous men in cheap suits are sitting across from the kings of the entertainment industry.
They take a deep breath and make an offer to sell their struggling little company for $50 million.
The room falls silent for a second, and then the executives of Blockbuster burst into laughter. That laughter was the most expensive sound in corporate history. The little company they mocked was Netflix, and the men they laughed out of the room went on to build an empire that would erase Blockbuster from the face of the earth. Welcome to Strategy Decoded. Today, we are dissecting the $50 million mistake. To understand why this happened, we have to travel back to the 1990s. If you grew up in America during this time, you know the ritual. It is Friday night. You get in the car with your family or your friends. You drive to the strip mall, where the bright blue and yellow ticket sign is glowing in the dark. You walk inside, and you are hit with the smell of buttered popcorn and carpet cleaner. Blockbuster was not just a store. It was a cultural phenomenon. They had 9,000 stores around the globe. They dominated the market so completely that they made billions of dollars simply by renting out plastic cassette tapes. They felt invincible. And when you feel invincible, you stop looking at the ground beneath your feet. The business model of Blockbuster was incredibly simple, but it had a dark side. A massive portion of their profit did not come from renting movies. It came from penalizing you. It came from late fees. They were not in the movie business. They were in the anxiety business. Enter Reed Hastings. The legend goes that Reed Hastings rented a copy of the movie Apollo 13. He lost track of time. He returned the tape 6 weeks late, and the clerk at the counter told him he owed $40. As he walked to the gym to work off his frustration, a thought hit him. The gym did not charge him for how often he used the treadmill. Why couldn't movie rentals work the same way? But in the beginning, it was a disaster. Mailing discs was slow. The internet was still running on dial-up connections that screamed when you picked up the phone. Netflix was bleeding money. They were desperate. They needed a lifeline. This brings us back to that boardroom in Dallas. Hastings and Randolph were tired. The dot-com bubble was bursting. They decided to fly to Dallas to meet John Antioco, the CEO of Blockbuster. The price tag was $50 million. John Antioco was a retail genius, but he suffered from a psychological trap known as the Competency Trap. This happens when you are so good at doing one thing that you refuse to believe there is another way to do it. He looked at these two men. To him, Netflix was a gnat on the windshield of a semi-truck. He smirked. He said no. The plane ride was quiet, but as they looked out the window at the clouds, the embarrassment turned into something else. It turned into resolve. They realized that Blockbuster did not understand the future. Netflix stopped trying to survive. They started trying to win. They focused heavily on data. While Blockbuster knew what movies were being rented, Netflix knew exactly what movies you wanted to watch next. They built a recommendation algorithm that was years ahead of its time. They introduced the subscription model. For a flat fee, you could have 3 DVDs at home at once. Blockbuster ignored them. This is a classic example of disruptive innovation. The disruptor starts at the bottom, offering a product that seems worse. But slowly, the disruptor gets better and better. By the time Blockbuster realized the threat, it was already too late. The company was at war with itself. The online division was fighting with the physical stores. The franchise owners were angry. It was internal chaos. Meanwhile, Netflix made the biggest pivot in entertainment history. Reed Hastings knew the end game was streaming. This is the cognitive bias known as status quo bias. Blockbuster had billions of dollars tied up in real estate. To pivot to streaming, they would have to burn their own empire to the ground. So they did nothing. In 2010, just 10 years after laughing at the $50 million offer, Blockbuster filed for bankruptcy. The stores were emptied. The popcorn machines were sold for scrap metal. The $50 million mistake was not a financial error. It was an ego error. Never get so comfortable that you laugh at the future, because the future does not care about your past success. It only cares about your ability to adapt.
If you want to understand more about the hidden strategies that shape our world, make sure you click that subscribe button.